Back into a new year, so it's been a couple of months in that since I've done any of these sort of little updates and that. Been taking a bit of a hiatus from the markets, doing little bits and pieces, other projects and that. But you know, here we are, well into sort of January now, so you know, time to really sort of start getting back to it. Had a couple of trades and that in the downtime, but nothing really too major in that. So at the moment, just looking at this gold on the sort of 1 hour time frame at the moment, we're seeing this little sort of break of this short-term falling resistance coming through here, coming up to really test this zone. This is what I'm looking for in the short term here, 1823, just for a little pop of here, maybe a little back test, and then go up here. And this is the major one. This up here. So if we zoom out here, we can see that this has been tested a number of times, and if we put it on the higher time frame, gives a bit of a better view of it as well. And as you can see, it's come beautiful sort of push from sort of sub 1800. You can see all these sort of little times it respected this zone here, and once it sort of really broke and then came back and back tested that one, yeah, we haven't really sort of looked back from it here. So on the H4, I mean, it's really just been in this sort of like this whole zone here is just really just one big sideways sort of consolidation zone. So I mean, really, once you can break out of this area, then we're sort of looking where we are, sort of breakout box, mate. There we go. Consolidation, breakout box. Once we can get out the top side of this, we look for the break of the 1830, back test to the top side here, and then on our way. And then really, if you take it one step further out here, this is the golden place that we're really sort of looking for. And I wouldn't say short term, but I'd probably say in the medium term. This sort of 1860 zone here, obviously, like it's sort of fluffed around here, similar sort of thing that we've got this sort of consolidation area here. We had one sort of back up over here, and that was going back into sort of November. So I mean, definitely we have a bit of a sort of slight uptrend, although realistically more or less still sideways. But I think 1830, because you've seen it sort of be rejected quite heavily these other times from these zones here, I wouldn't be surprised if you had a number of sort of stops, short stops just above this zone. And when you got short stops there, I mean, the market knows it. The market's just going to go, well, you know what? Even if I'm going to go down, I'm still just going to blow all these people out first. It's just the way that gold happens to work. It's not a really sort of friendly sort of thing for some people and that. But again, as long as you understand these things, you know that this is how it's going to play, then you can sort of, you know, you can place your stops accordingly. You can sort of try and plan your entries with all that kind of stuff in mind. So as you see, really we want to get across this little short-term previous high, just going back from yesterday on the 17th, and then to come back up here. And again, as you can see, so look at these rejections here. So if we drag these ones up, just to highlight it a little bit more, but you can see these times it's here, it's rejected, and these are quite heavy sort of rejection. I mean, look at the size of these candles coming down. We've got 1826, that's a 4-hour candle, and that's a $20 drop. Here, I mean, obviously sort of it was spread out over a little bit more time, but you know, you're going from 30 down to 85. I mean, that's nearly $50 drop almost. But you know, it's fought its way back. And now when we're seeing these sort of rejections that are coming through, you know, I mean, they dropped just $1 or $2 shy of it all, but more or less, you know, hitting that zone. Because of course, you know, I mean, technical analysis isn't an exact sort of science to the cent, but you have these zones, and you're seeing the rejections here. I mean, this one here, look at this wick. That was a sort of what I was talking about before. There's where it's sort of trying to sort of hunt any sort of stops, because you know, stops under textbook stop underneath the previous low. Okay, put it down there, comes down just enough to clip them all, and then fires straight back up, hits that zone again, comes down. But I mean, if you're looking at these kind of sell-offs here compared to these ones previously, the bears just aren't there. The strength isn't there to really sort of hammer it down. So we're starting to get, look, there's a low, here's another low, another low. We're starting to get slightly higher lows on each one of these sell downs. So I would expect, at least in the short term, to come up above this 1830, maybe test for some stops here. Of course, if we can find some stops, that's then just going to push it right up here. We've got the daily ATR at 1837, so I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, we get a bit of a hit, get a bit of a run, push up around here. 1840, I wouldn't be surprised if we sort of give that area a bit of a touch up. And then again, sort of, you know, from a technical standpoint, you'd be looking for this sort of move here, come up here, test this area, break through, I reckon, as I said, I'm pegging around sort of 1740. I reckon it might actually push a little bit higher. And whether it happens today, tomorrow, or not, I'd say this is probably the direction that I'm looking for gold with my buys anyway. Come back here, retest the top side. So again, these sort of zones here. And as I keep saying, I mean, support is resistance, resistance is support. It just depends which direction you're coming from. So once you can pop it, look for the back test, and that's when you're really going to start to see a lot of people pile in. If they can get that sort of rejection from the top side of here to come back up here, test wherever we get this high, as I said, around 1840, I'm sort of seeing for this initial move. And then you're sort of looking to move back up to this zone. And again, this, if we look at it's in this this grey zone, is probably where you're sort of looking for a sort of medium-term target for gold. So, I mean, you can see almost sort of like a bit of a sort of like, this is, as I said, it was a bit of a consolidation zone here. But if we drag this one up a little bit, and we call that pretty much the pole, and then we can get a breakout from this top side here. It depends where you want to sort of take it from bottom of the box or the top of the box, but that pretty much lines up perfectly up into this sort of 1860 zone. So medium-term, short-term target for, medium-term target for gold at 1860, but really we need to get this pop of 1830. For a healthy move, I would say back test here, and then sort of double bounce off that zone. But in saying that, I mean, gold really is a sort of bit of a fickle beast. So if it goes out here and then, you know, if the right sort of data is coming out at the same time, you could just see a complete move to the top side here. But certainly I would say, based on these push downs and the fact that it keeps getting bought up, and that these sort of like moves to the downside are obviously a lot weaker than these previous ones that we were seeing when it was rejecting from this 1830. I would be surprised if we didn't get at least another test of this zone here in the short term, and then, as I said, probably a pop through and then looking up around that 1860. But yep, just a quick video just coming back, man, just a quick little touch up of gold, and that I'll be a bit more on board and that sort of now that we're sort of back settling into the new year, and have a couple more updates a little bit more frequently. All right, good luck everyone.